Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. This is Victor. So we were having a conversation about the different things that our channel covers.
Sure.
And I said basically anti-government stuff because that's where it started. And then, National Socialist stuff for the historical. And then in order to understand that, you have to understand the Jewish question.
Sure.
So those are the three focuses of our channel. And I was watching a podcast and the lady on it's like, I have a total loss of trust in the system. I can't send my kids to public school anymore. And I realized when I heard that the focus of our channel is not anti-government.
Correct.
We're not anti-government technically. If I was in Hungary, I would be very pro-government. We're anti this government and the terrible things they do. So when we're doing anti-government things, we're just showing you terrible things that they do in order to get you to lose trust in them. Because if you know all the things, you will not trust them. That's my premise.
Sure.
Right? And so I just wanted to basically go over like an overview of all the different things that you shouldn't trust the government for. When they deserve trust, you can give it to them.
Totally.
That's fine. On a local level, maybe your local deputy. On a grand scheme, policing. So we got multiple videos on policing. I'll link one below. Okay. This is people who support our views are very pro-police often.
Yeah. And
the problem is after the lockdowns and all of that, and the good officers left, there's very little good policing left, except for on the very local level.
Yes.
Like the small town guy. Mm-hmm. And so then that's one of the examples. And education's another example. My kids are homeschooled, Mm-hmm. Like you shouldn't, I even live in a good town,
Right.
Okay, go ahead. What do you got?
Easy one is, military and spreading democracy. And as you look into it, we're just the worst. We're a cancer on the planet. Our military is.
Right. And I don't feel like saying thank you for your service.
Right.
I appreciate the intention of young men who go in and say, I'm going to fight for freedom and democracy. Well, you're just a sweet, innocent young man or woman,
Mm-hmm.
But you're about to go participate in terrible things.
Right. For terrible motivations at the higher levels and all that.
And destroy people's lives when they're trying to do good things with our country. Like, The only example that I might think of a good military effort, and I'm not sure if this is true because I haven't researched it too much, is the Korean War.
Okay.
Because South Korea is in a better situation than North Korea. Okay. And if South Korea looked like North Korea right now, that would not be as good for the South Koreans, right? Okay. So this is the one, and there might be terrible atrocities we did, probably are, that I just don't know about because I haven't researched a lot. But just, the whole military thing. Good.
No, I was just thinking immediately all the sanctions and stuff that we've put on North Korea, how much is true that we hear about North Korea. I don't trust anything else our government says, so why should I trust them about North Korea? You know what I mean?
It's like when the people escape and they tell their stories.
Okay.
I've heard several of them, and they're pretty compelling.
Gotcha.
That like an animal dies and you're not allowed to eat them, even though you're starving. You've got to, okay, but we're not talking about that now. Well, this is a big one here because it's like everything political. That's a big category. So elections, do you trust elections?
Yeah, right.
Look at some graphs that just shoot up in the middle of the night, or people cardboarding so that people can't view, on the window.
Suitcases of
votes, them telling the poll watchers to leave as they pull the hidden stuff that's been hidden. Okay, there's that, right? Mm-hmm. Complete loss of confidence in the United States Supreme Court.
Yes.
Because they wouldn't do the Texas versus Pennsylvania case. And then somebody heard them scream, but there'll be riots. That's not how justice is done.
No.
Justice is blind.
Right.
So absolute failure. And then if you want to go into justice, we can go into Soros DAs. We can go into we're not Trump fans, but ridiculous prosecutions of Trump. Sure. Ridiculous prosecutions of January 6 people. Insane stuff. They're using a clause made for the Enron case to prevent them from destroying evidence. They're using that to say that January 6ers were disrupting a proceeding. And the Supreme Court just got to look at it and they're like, this is insane. This is insane. But it carries like 20, 30 years.
Wow.
It's just that you should have no faith in the justice system. Every once in a while, you have like a Kyle Rittenhouse.
Okay.
But then you have just people getting railroaded. And so justice, I'm out. What about Congress? You got lots of trust in Congress?
No.
I'm going to put a recent poll up on the screen about Americans' faith in Congress. It's got to be ridiculously low. Insanely. 14%, I'll guess. What do you guess? Openly say they have confidence in Congress.
I think there's enough delusional people out there that's higher than that.
So what is it? Give me a number.
I'll say high 20s, 28.
28. Okay, 14,
I'll
28.
double yours. Yeah.
I'll put it on the screen and see who's closer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you could just go on and on with everything political. I was, as you're going on, I'm like, just the fact that nobody runs on repealing the temporary 16th Amendment for income tax.
agreed.
They are not for the people. I've been thinking about of the people, by the people, for the people a lot in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And it's none of the government qualifies for any of those three things. They aren't us. They don't represent a normal person's views of the world. It's just making themselves rich, and it's terrible.
Yeah, but then the fact that phrase exists, as we by the people for the people, makes us all targets as government actors to a foreign person who hates us for the terrible things that we've done to them, because we are officially of the but the government is made up of us. So we don't even want that slogan.
Well, we don't, but how many people out there would agree with you? Not very many,
right,
percentage-wise. So the foreigners who believe that about Americans are completely right.
Right.
Because most people support the government.
Right. Yeah.
It's
insanity.
Yeah.
Okay. We could do 3-letter agencies, but I'm not going to.
Right.
You could just scroll through a random video of ours, click on it, and it's going to be talking about the FBI doing something terrible, the CIA doing something terrible,
totally.
the NSA doing something terrible. I mean, you could even go down the list in loss of trust of your constitutional rights.
Yeah.
Like, how well do you think your rights are being upheld?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have faith in the Second Amendment that 20 years from now, you will still have the exact same AR-15 with the exact same modifications on it?
Sure.
Half of that stuff will be illegal. I don't know.
Right.
Depending on your state, a lot of it is, but we don't trust the Supreme Court. We don't trust the legislature,
Yeah.
Even Trump banned bump stocks,
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but like you could even, you can go 8th Amendment, you can go 5th and 6th. It's terrible out there.
Totally. You can also just every aspect of your life. You did political. I mean, what about financial, Federal Reserve, and that type of thing? I mean, that's just an awful thing.
Right. Interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
They when they started this year, they were going to do 6 quarter-point interest rate cuts, right?
Okay.
Now they're saying they put it off, and now they're saying we're not sure if we're going to do 1 quarter point because the inflation won't go below 2%, because they printed all the money.
Right.
This is why. This is just a holdover effect. Who owns houses?
Right.
None of us here talking, we'll just say, right? But I'm just saying, like, the situation's terrible.
But you go back to the congressmen and senators. How many people in America live to the level that they do?
Right.
And it's an incredibly small percentage.
Right. So, I mean, okay, look, I want to go into this really good one.
Okay.
Because I was watching Jimmy Dore, and he said something like it was just something terrible happened. And he said, man, when are we going to have a evolution with an R on the front of it? Right?
Oh.
And I thought, wait, is that illegal?
Yeah.
Because, like I have I'm trying not to do illegal things, especially on video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying not to. And there was this one lady recently, and she goes to this town hall and she's talking crap about them for genocide and this and that.
Okay.
And at the end, she says, you guys are such pieces of trash. And she's like, you got guards here, but we're going to come to your homes and end you. She literally says that. And the lady says, Miss blah, blah, blah. She's like, the officer will now take custody of you because that's a threat. That's literally a crime. You cannot do that, So anyways, I looked it up. Sure enough, it's illegal to call for evolution with an R, right?
Okay.
And so I told him about this, and he's like, I want to know what year, right?
Well, you mentioned the year. My point was just any government who makes that point, that law, is already suspect and something should be done.
Right, because it's like if I'm a really good leader and I'm just everything's going great in the country, and then somebody says let's start over with this government, everybody look at you like you're a moron.
No, they're great.
You're a moron. Do you see
that?
the tax credits and all the things they're doing for us and how clean the streets are? Anyways, so this law is called 18 U.S.C. 2385.
Okay.
It was made 1940.
Okay, I was thinking it has to be in the last half century-ish.
Yeah, so think about where we're at in 1940.
So just almost World War II?
Yeah. And World War II is going on. We're not involved.
Right.
And so anyways, I'm just going to read you a little bit of it, okay?
Okay.
Advocating overthrow of government. Whoever knowfully or willfully advocates, abets, advises, or teaches the duty, necessity, desirability, or propriety of overthrowing or destroying the government of the United States or the government of any state, territory, district, or possession thereof, or the government of any political subdivision therein by force or violence, or by the assassination of any officer of any such government, or whoever with intent to cause the overthrow of destruction of any such government prints, publishes, edits, issues, circulates, sells, distributes, or publicly displays any written or printed manner advocating, advising, or teaching the duty, necessity, desirability, or propriety of overthrowing or destroying any government in the United States by force or violence, or attempts to do so, or whoever organized helps to. I'm gonna stop.
That's a run-on sentence. Or
Yeah, but you get the point, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll put a link to it below, but it's 18 USC 2,385, and everything's covered in there.
Yeah.
You would just, the only way you can get away with it is if you just say nonviolence, because it says by force or violence, right? But you can't. Evolutions with an R aren't nonviolent, right? Anyways, I just thought this was interesting.
Yeah,
because trash, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're knowingly afraid of the people. Then at that point, that means you're doing the wrong thing. You're
definitely doing the wrong thing. Yes. It's like, we're going to put you into a world war right now that you don't want.
Right.
False flag.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, all right, so they're going to justify the, prodding Japan into attacking us so we can get in the war, and they knew that was coming. Remember, you got over, was it 90-something% where it was anti-war at that point?
Yeah, it was 93-7.
Yeah.
Anti-war. And then after Pearl Harbor, it was 93-7 pro-war. It flipped.
That's amazing.
So basically, I'm going to start using this term a lot more. And I'm going to start encouraging people in an episode. We're hoping that you've lost some more trust in the FBI or whatever the topic at hand is when we're just uncovering these things. And if you think we're unfair in that episode, or if we're saying that, go ahead and just put it in the comments. We'll see. Maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is a concept that I'm going to start putting, so I want to make an episode about
the loss of trust.
The loss of trust.
Okay.
So I will replace any time where I would say like anti-government, and I'm going to say loss of trust in the system is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Because it's the entire system.
Yeah.
The pharmaceuticals, there's so many more things we could have named. The FDA, the USDA, the way your food's done, right?
Yeah. There's
so many different ways. The water, you know what I'm saying? They got these hormone inhibitors and stuff in the water. They got, it's something that lowers the testosterone and stuff.
Oh, okay.
The estrogen and stuff. They got all types of stuff going on. I don't know all the details on it, but it's terrible out there. And so anyways, I encourage you, don't trust the system.
Yeah. As we were just talking, I remember like COVID, trust the science.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of the country knew not to trust the science, and all those people were correct just because it was coming from the government. And you just cannot trust them.
And then Trump's people said no too. That's so great.
Right. Yeah. So I'm sure you guys can come up with a huge list. I don't know that it really matters. We just all, if you know, you know.
But if it's something we've never covered before on any episode, then put it below, because I want to go research some obscure stuff and tell you how terrible the government is.
Or if you have the outlier of something that we actually can trust the government for, that's a good thing.
Okay.
I don't know that exists, but
I'd have to think about
be curious. Let us know your thoughts. We'll see you next time.